Good morning, CLC. We've rearranged the stage and I don't know where to stand.
Perfect.
So I'm going to stand between them. Well, welcome to July. Here in Houston, it is very hot, so I'm going to start out by saying, hey, make sure you drink plenty of water. We're talking the heat index of 101, and that is the problem. I just see one of our problems. Hang on, I'm going to put my mic down.
Is this why the sound is weird?
It's one of those technical glitch days.
Okay, hopefully the sound is now better because it's now coming through the soundboard instead of from the iPad directly. So I need a nice deep breath, so I'm going to encourage everybody to take a nice deep breath. Center yourself in the spirit. One more nice deep breath. And center yourself in the sacred. Welcome to your Sunday morning. Welcome to your Sabbath. Welcome to your day of rest. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one and all is well. As we begin the inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself to miracle-working higher power. Now, symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your right hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner acceptance and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging the higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of the infinite presence, I simply speak these words. I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined, and I now forgive myself for all my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, now I say, I forgive. Realizing that I am continually experiencing the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only constructive, positive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I now center upon that one special idea that I am willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing the idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I support the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words. I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release. Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me, family member, friend, mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways, someone who's not physically present in the room this morning, And I turn to that image in mind and say, I am grateful for the good in your life. Now I open my eyes to the world around me and turn joyfully to that person next to me and share my gratitude and confidence by saying, I am grateful for the good in your life. We are grateful for the good in your life.
Good morning, Creative Life.
Good morning.
I'll put you back when I need that. I need that. I have notes up here, dude.
Well-oiled machine, right?
Yeah, you know.
Honey, I didn't plug in the iRig today, so
It's one of those technical glitches.
All right. How you doing today? Got some fresh batteries and the lamps here and everything. Last week I gave you an acronym thanks to an idea from Reverend Arthur from 2 weeks ago. The acronym was BASIC. B-A-S-I-C. Brian wasn't here to hear all this. Believe in belief, acknowledge the problem, seek a solution, immerse yourself in spirit, the place where nothing has ever been wrong, and come back to the world. I have another acronym for you today, and you don't have to remember all of these because they're being recorded. You can go back and watch the Facebook Live and YouTube presentations. This one is S.O.N.G. S-O-N-G. Start where you are, open yourself to greater possibility, name your choices, challenges, fears, doubts, what have you, and I'll save G for the end. It might be what you expect it to be. And some of these ideas are being drawn from a little booklet called A Holmes Reader on Meaning. It was distributed by the World Ministry of Prayer about 25 years ago. And I want to begin by reading you something out of here. If we wish to make the most practical use of the science of mind, we must accept the divine givingness, which means that natural laws already are turned over for our use. And we must make conscious use of these laws for definite purposes. Here, perhaps, is where many of us fail to demonstrate the full possibility inherent in the use of natural law. To say that the desert can bloom and blossom as the rose is a true statement of a definite principle in nature. But if it is to become a fact in our experience, we must cultivate the soil and plant our seed before we shall reap our harvest. So today is about really doing just that. And he has a passage in here where he says you can make your work a prayer and you can make your life a song. That the work that we do is a prayer, is a statement of our conviction, is a statement of our spiritual faith. Paul said, pray without ceasing. And prayer without ceasing is something not that you ought to do, but that you are doing, that you're always doing. Every thought is a prayer, and they accumulate, don't they, Brian? They accumulate. See, this is great. This is something else I picked up from Reverend Arthur, which is talk to various people in the audience and see if they're paying attention. Catch it. And if they start to nod off, which no one does during his talks, let me tell you. If they start to nod off, you're like, so Brian, what do you think of that? Back in the day when we met in the other building upstairs, which was prior to 21 years ago, but it was before that period of time. We were new, and we met in a different seating configuration than most of you would remember because we were that new here. There was a guy who came to the service. We had one service in those days, and he worked nights. And he'd come and he'd sit on the aisle. And we'd start, we'd meditate quietly, sing kind of quietly, because there weren't many of us. And he'd nod off. And by the time it came to my talk, he was pretty well out of it. And he'd sit in the aisle and he'd lean. He always sat in an aisle seat on this side, my left. And he'd lean into the aisle. And I'd watch him. And as soon as he hit that critical balance point, he'd kind of come to and sit back up. And I kept waiting for this guy to just plots into the aisle, but he never did. Yet at the end of the morning, he remembered what I'd said. So we'd talk about it, and I thought that was pretty impressive. And I thought it was impressive even more that somebody who'd work all night felt that it was important to their spiritual practice to find a spiritual center to come sit in on a Sunday morning when there were 100 other things they could do. Spiritual practice is key. We're having a rough time right now in the world. You know this. You don't need me to tell you this. We're having a rough time here in Houston with the virus, the spikes in infections. It's not helping our spirits that it's going to be 100 degrees today, with 110 feels like number. Because those of you who live at a distance, what you need to know that Lisa didn't mention is this is not a dry heat. They'll tell you in Vegas it's a dry heat. It's not a dry heat here. It's a moist heat, okay? And so we all feel like orchids, kind of wilting under all of this. And that's why it's really important to have a spiritual practice that you can count on, that you return to regularly. Start thinking of your life as a prayer. Start thinking of your life as a song, and watch what happens. There'll be something very positive come about. The work you do today yields fruit tomorrow. Holmes uses the example countless times about gardening or farming. You plant the seed in due season, you reap the harvest. You can't have the harvest without having planted the seed. But you don't reap the harvest the same afternoon of the morning you planted the seed. It takes some time for these things to occur, but they will occur. Focus on the planting of the seed in the now, in the present moment. Focus on what has to happen right now, today. Let's try not to obsess on the future. What does the future hold? When is this thing going to be over? When are things going to be better? Right now, today, there's plenty of beauty, there's plenty of joy, there's plenty of love to go around. This is our 18th consecutive Sunday, broadcasting in this way with no congregation present. But there's no less love in this room. There's 6 or 7 of us here every weekend. Usually Danielle's with us, she's not today. Usually Jeffrey's with us. Both of them have been with us for all 17. They're not here today. Brian and Melody and Kenzie, Tom Ryan is assisting Reverend Lisa on the recording of this. And there's a lot of love here that could be multiplied many times over by a factor of you. But until that time comes, we're holding the light. We who are here, you're holding the light at home, doing what you know to do in your spiritual practice. You're having a consciousness in the moment. In the moment, right now is what matters. Right now, just right now. What are you thinking right now? How are you feeling right now? Are you noticing your feelings? Are you noticing a connection between your thoughts and feelings and the outcomes in your life? And if you don't like what you're thinking and you don't like what you're feeling, one of the suggestions I would make, and it comes up in this acronym, is name it. Name it. Say what it is. So, you might have seen the video of the 2 Japanese amusement park executives. Have you seen this one? Okay. Well, they unveiled in this amusement park this new roller coaster. And it's a whopper. But they're very COVID conscious. The park is open, they're inviting people, but they're asking them to be masked up, and they're saying, please don't scream. Please don't scream on the roller coaster, because when you scream, droplets of, you get the picture. And so, people are saying, well, this is tough. You're asking too much. We have to scream on roller coasters. So these two executives set out to prove that you didn't have to. And they made a video, mounted a camera on the front car of the roller coaster. And here are these two guys, one of them in a suit and tie, masked up, and you see them and plummet, a million miles an hour, absolutely impassive. And this way, they're that way. And they look like the guy sitting on the aisle and is talking about, and here they go. And the only gesture one of them makes, one of them goes to his hair. His hair, it's a little out of place. Of course, you can only see them from here up, right? But they're just looking straight ahead. And they get off and I expect them to get off the thing and just fall down, but they don't. And the caption, why I'm telling you all of this, 'cause it's great, you can see it, it's had like 20 million views or something on YouTube, but the caption is, "Scream in your heart." Scream in your heart. So are you screaming in your heart? It's okay if you do. It's okay if you scream out loud too. You might have seen the video that went around in the early days of the situation. The teacher who said, "I've written a song."
Yeah.
You remember? I think you sent this out. And she has a ukulele and she just screams. She just screams, having to teach, on Zoom or something. But it's okay if you're screaming in your heart. Just name it. Say, "I feel lousy today. I hurt today. I have great grief. I have great pain. I have great doubt. I might have, as I mentioned last week, free-floating anxiety. I might have grief and pain that I cannot associate with any particular situation, but I just feel rotten." Name it. You'll feel better. Don't pretend it's not there. Call it out. Call it out. And having spoken the truth to yourself, or rather having spoken the facts, I guess you'd say, to yourself, you can now open to truth, which is, all right, now I have a choice. I can sit in this feeling, and there's no shame in that. But when I'm ready, I can move on into some new set of thoughts, into some new sort of outlook of what I could do next. Holmes makes the point in his writing, he says, what can you do right now? What can you achieve right now? He says in another passage in that little booklet, he says a lot of times we make big plans for grand achievements that someday we're going to take on. He says, what could you be doing right now? That's a small thing in the overall picture, but it's a kind thing, it's a good thing. It's a building block. It's a pillar in the temple, as we all are, It's some step in the right direction. Do you ever get in a position where, and I found myself in this the other day, where you have so much to do, you have so many different projects and they have deadlines attached to them and people are waiting for stuff from you. You have so much to do that you don't know where to begin, so you don't begin any of it. And you just kind of sit there looking at all of this. Well, there's no shame in that either, but notice that you're doing this. And then pick one thing and do it. And one sense of accomplishment, what they tell you, I read this in a magazine article one time. They said if you ever run out of gas on doing stuff, you're ever confused as to where to begin, they said, do you own a vacuum cleaner? Get out the vacuum cleaner and vacuum something. Whatever. Even if you just did. And it will send a message through you that I'm in action. I'm engaged here. And while you're vacuuming, you'll think of something else that you then want to do. And you'll go on to, maybe you'll clean around the house, and then cleaning the house will lead into the actual project that you had in mind to take on that's maybe more creative or involves more finesse, But you send a message to yourself. And yourself is responsive to these messages. It's waiting for these messages. In the same way that our metabolism is waiting for some kind of acknowledgement. We eat when we're hungry, we drink when we're thirsty, and our body's grateful for it, And that's the G in song. Is give thanks. Is give thanks. For those of you that may be new with us or new-ish with us, and last week I mentioned about how we are the Science Mind Center for Spiritual Living, the organizational background to all of this. But a big part of our teaching is gratitude. And not just ordinary store-bought variety, off-the-rack variety of gratitude, but proactive gratitude. Being grateful before you have a good reason. When you're grateful before you have a good reason, life starts to line up behind your gratitude to present you with reasons. Mind works and form works. They work together in almost exactly the reverse manner than we have been taught, than we have come to understand. Like most people, I was taught, wait till something good happens, then be grateful for it. Hasn't happened yet, maybe this afternoon, sooner or later something will happen, maybe next week, I don't know. Meanwhile, here I am. The Science of Mind says feel gratitude and then watch something come confirm it. Whatever you feel, watch something come confirm it. Yesterday in class, we're going through Emma Curtis Hopkins' work. I'm sitting there watching people on Zoom like the old MTV commercial with their hair blown back because you read Emma, you just open her book, she blows your hair back, right? And she's Scientific Christian Mental Practice is her best known book. And she says in there, your life is the exact record of your thoughts. And we're like, okay, what else does she know? What else does she have to say? What else you got for me, Emma? You keep going through it. And she pulls you in like, she says, your life is the exact record of your thoughts. She does not say, your life is the approximate record of your thoughts. Your life is the occasional record of your thoughts. No, exact record of your thoughts. Do you believe her? Do you believe her? What if we were to operate on that assumption? And watch what happened. My life is the exact record of my thoughts and feelings, which when combined form belief. What if we were to operate on that assumption? Then watch what happens. And you try this, and stuff begins to conform. Perhaps her best known axiom, I quote relentlessly, till your eyes cross, is that the world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. You see? And like you, I was taught, let the world perform what it does, and then I'll affirm that I perceived that. She says, oh no, that's not how it works. You turn it completely around, and you affirm it being so, and the world persists in exhibiting before you what you have affirmed. Now maybe that's too strong, and we talked about this in class, and we said Ernest Holmes tamps it down a little bit, softens it up a little bit. He doesn't exactly hedge his bets, you know, but it's more like most of the time, most of us, it's softer and all. He spent a week or 10 days learning from Emma, and it was enough. It was bracing enough for him, you know, that he remembered it 50 years later. But maybe it's a little tough. But give it a shot. Maybe there's order, more than we thought. Maybe there's purpose, more than we thought. Maybe there's a patterning intelligence working through all things, more than we thought. So, start where you are. I mean, where else are you going to start? But we pretend to start somewhere else. A lot of times we start in the past. Well, so, you know, who was the comedian that said, I started out as a child. You know, we start out with, well, because I got off to a bad start, because I made stupid choices or something like that, I am where I am now. We look into the distant past. Sometimes we try to start in the future too. You know, when my ship comes in, that's when there's this Phineas Rainbow, the musical. You ever see that? Wonderful tunes in there. Wonderful tunes. As a matter of fact, I went to, touch my face. I saw a musical one time based on the lyrics. This is really cool. The lyrics of Yip Harburg, E.Y. Harburg, who wrote for Finian's Rainbow and a bunch of other musicals with Jack Gilford. I saw this production. It was terrific to see the lyrical side of things. But in Finian's Rainbow, there's a song called "The Great Come and Get It Day." And the short version of this, there's a group of people, there's a town where they're working on a plan, a project, kind of an industry that's going to save the town, and everybody will be wealthy, and they can have all the things they want. It's a town in Appalachia, you know, and so they do this song and dance number called "On That Great Come and Get It Day." On that great, and our ship comes in, and they're all dreaming, and we'll have this, and we'll have that, and meanwhile, they're not paying any attention to the project they're actually working on. It's going to generate all the money, you know. So sometimes we live in the future, and we're like, well, when everything works out, you know, then I'll start. But our life has already begun. And the place where we have agency, the place where we have real traction, make a difference. It's now. It's here. And when we do the work in the here, it'll show up in the there. We'll walk into it. We pave our destiny. We pave our karma, if you will, that we walk into. So start where you are. Open yourself, to greater possibility. This could be more than it seems. This could all work out. This could all be heading in the right direction. This world could be heading in the right direction. Right now, it seems like trouble has come up to meet us everywhere, and I quoted for you that Christopher Fry poem, "The Sleep of Prisoners." How when wrong comes up to meet us everywhere, never to leave us till we take the greatest stride of soul folk ever took. The enterprise is exploration into God, you see. And so this is leading somewhere. Open ourselves to the possibility that this is leading somewhere powerful and useful and healthy for all of us. Then name your choices, challenges, fears, doubts. The way in Scripture Adam named all the animals of the earth. Call the thing. Say, I'm scared. Or say, I'm confused. Or say, I don't know what I am right now, but I don't like it. Okay? Or I don't know what I am right now, but I do like it. I don't know why I'm happy. You ever get quizzed about this? It's bizarre. You know, sometimes people, you say, well, I'm not real happy. People are like, I completely understand. You say, I'm really happy. People are like, why? What do you know that we don't? Prove it. Prove it. I want facts. I want data to show why you should be, you know. And we do this to ourselves. Like, why am I so happy? What am I overlooking? Had a guy used to come here. He moved away. He was a practitioner with us. Which reminds me, I have something to say about practitioners when we come to announcement time. But he said he had a relative. He'd gotten involved in this teaching elsewhere, and then he moved here, and he was with us for some years, then he moved away. He may be watching today. I won't call his name, but he knows who he is. And he had a relative who, when he told his relative that he had found Science of Mind, what it was about, and so on, his relative said, or made him feel, didn't say it exactly, but made him feel like he was missing a critical piece of information. To have an optimistic outlook, he was missing a critical piece of information, which basically was the whole thing's going to hell in a handbasket. You know? And so sometimes we get that from the world. Are you happy? Are you content within yourself? Then you don't have all the facts. And it throws us for a moment until we realize I'm entitled to joy as well as to grief, as well as to pain. I'm entitled to the whole banquet possible feelings. And finally, the S in song is to give thanks. Give thanks proactively. Give thanks within yourself. I started a practice some years ago where I give thanks right before I drop off to sleep, or right before I try to drop off to sleep. And sometimes your mind keeps working, you know, and you have to tell it to shut up so you can sleep. Mine particularly on Saturday nights, because I'm thinking that this talk, by the time you get it, let me tell you what this talk has been through in my head before it comes out to you. But I lay there right before I try to go to sleep, and I have a little recitation that I do, which I'll keep to myself, but basically is one of gratitude. Whatever kind of day I've had, however things look, thanks. Thanks. Challenges? Thanks. They build muscle. Gifts? Thanks. They're fun to open. Creative ideas? Thanks. I'll get to them first thing. Whatever it is, thanks. And somehow, it puts a veneer on things. They gleam, your life consciousness. It sparkles. It's a beautiful thing. So S.O.N.G, S-O-N-G, start where you are. Open yourself to greater possibility. Name your choices and challenges and give thanks. And that'll do it for today. But let's know together, there's one life, one power, one presence, one heart, one mind, one whatever you want to call it. Any name could limit it if we let it. Some call it the nameless one. Some say it contains all names within it, even the names that deny it. Think of it simply as a wholeness, a oneness that exists between all of us and within each of us. Body, mind, and soul. There is one. That one is everywhere present and everywhere fully focused. You are that one. I am that one. This one is responsive to consciousness, to an active mind and heart. This one moves from potential into actuality, in service to the word that is spoken. This process is mechanical, is automatic, this part of the creative process. What is spontaneous and free is the part that exists before this act and following it. Spontaneous and free co-creation, but then moves through law in form. So I speak this word into that creative law of mind about each one watching, listening, the people who are gathered around you, the animals at your feet, or walking across your keyboard, your loved ones present with you, present in mind, elsewhere on the planet, off the planet, your ancestors, and those who will come after, the generations of your family that will be here 50, 100, 1,000 years hence. I speak this word about all from a place of one, and I affirm and know for each. The one thing that I am entitled to know about you without your permission, without your participation, and that is, I know that each one is at choice, that each one is a co-creator with the infinite, and that each one now knows that. Each one now knows that. Each one now may take up their divine inheritance and do that which is before them to do. What that is, only you know. Only these others within themselves know. But it is mighty. And it too sparkles in the light. It is a beautiful thing. It is a wondrous thing. This destiny, this self-created, self-chosen, self-directed destiny that you have within your hands right now. For this knowing, for the confidence and conviction that arises within each of us as we realize who we are and how we are, I am so deeply grateful I release this word now into that creative principle, calling it done. And so it is. If you are, okay, 4 things. If you are new to us and you'd like to get these weekly emails from us, let us know. You can do that on the Facebook page, or you can email us at info@creativelife.org, and we'll add you to the list and you can see what's going on. The third thing I wanted to tell you was that we have a new practitioner at Creative Life Spiritual Center as of yesterday, who just passed her panels. Her name is PJ Gunter. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. If you haven't met PJ, because she lives on the other side of the city, and she has been with us in class mostly via distance, via Zoom. You will meet her big time when, of course, we reopen, and she will be in presence on Zoom, and she is wise and witty and warm and just absolutely wonderful. And so it's just super to welcome her to our team serving you here at Creative Life. So if you like, let's do this now. A custom of many years, one of our many traditions here at Creative Life. Let's say together now, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is. And once again, here's our musicians.
Hello, everyone. I will be playing Can You Feel the Sunshine by Richard Jacquez and T.J. Davis. It's kind of my own version. Can you see the sun shining on me? Makes me feel so free, so alive. Makes me want to survive in the sky, in the sky. It makes me feel so high. The bad times pass me by, and today it's gonna be a brighter day. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up your day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Reach out for the sunshine, forget about the rain. Just think about the good times and they will come back again. Without you, there's nothing for me to do. Can you feel the sunshine too? It's still gotta prove. It makes me feel brand new when you're here. I wish you were always here, 'cause everything's so clear. And today is gonna be a brighter day. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up your day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Reach out for the sunshine, forget about the rain. Just think about the good times and they will come back again. When the sun goes down, I feel like I am waiting for another day when the clouds go away. Can you feel it? Ooh. Can you feel it?
the end of the day, or it's the end of, it's not the end of the day. It's the beginning of the day. It is the beginning of the day. And I invited you into the sacred, and now I'm going to remind you, as I send you back out into the world, that everything around you is sacred. Everywhere you look, God is looking back at you. Spirit is always holding you. So I invite you to feel those arms around you, the arms of Spirit. Feel them holding you. Feel that love flowing into you. And know that there is one life, one power, one presence, one love. And though we are but a small part of that presence, it is a light within each of us that lights up the world. So I invite you to look in the mirror and see that light shining back through you. Feel that love flowing through you out into the world. Whatever the world looks like right now, know that that love is there. It is flowing through you. And it is changing that world. Because there is one reality, and the rest is just appearances. So I commit to you the gratitude, I commit to you that love, I commit to you that presence, knowing that it is always there. It is always holding you, it is always holding me, because we are a part of it. And so I relax into that, knowing it is so, and so it is.
Say with me now, something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my
I
body.
feel it in my mind.
I feel it in my
I
mind.
feel it in everything I
I
am.
feel it in everything I
I
am.
choose it.
I choose
I
it.
trust it.
I trust
I
it.
use it.
I use
And
it.
I love it.
And I love it.
So it is.
So it is.